Hello BookTube, my name is Dennis and today I'm coming to you with my first video of the year, which will be the 3 projects that I plan to concentrate on in 2020, and I want to bring to you a video of expectations. Not necessarily goals, because these expectations are rather hefty, and I realize that not all of them may be completed no matter how hard I try. But I like to start the year with setting a kind of a parameter of where I want my reading to be headed. The first goal is a concept that has come up thanks to 2 lovely booktubers, and that is Old Blues Chapters and Verse, which is Jason's channel, and his lovely wife Kelly as well has a channel, and that channel's name is Books I'm Not Reading. These 2 lovely people have come up with a hashtag, a year of reading one's own, which is an idea that if your shelves are overcrowded by books that you have not read, perhaps you might be enthusiastic to concentrate a year, not necessarily acquiring more books, but rekindling the old flame that those books brought in you when you first purchased them. Therefore, I would like to say that this year I plan not to purchase any books. I have 2 amendments to that. One amendment is that I am free to use the library if something should come out that I'm very excited about. The second amendment is that I have a NYRB subscription, which are the classic books that they put out, and basically they send me a book a month. So I would like to stay up to date with that and read those books as they come. Other than that, I will not be going into any bookstores or attaining any books with money. The second goal / expectation is that I would love to read more Russian literature this year. I have read much of Tolstoy. I have read about half of the works of Dostoevsky, or less than that. So I would like to concentrate on other authors now, because I realize that even if I can hold a conversation when it comes to Tolstoy or Dostoevsky, other authors elude me. So, without further ado, I will show you numerous Russian books that I have on my shelves that I would love to get to this year. And my plan is to read 1 Russian book a month. We have the selected short stories of Anton Chekhov. I have this beautiful binded edition of Fathers and Sons by Ivan Turgenev. It has rather nice illustrations and smells really good. Then I mentioned in another video that I would love to read more of Nabokov, so I'm going to try and read these 2 books that I have of his, which is An Invitation to Beheading and Vladimir Nabokov, The Gift. Another book that I have is Svetlana Alexievich, Secondhand Time, The Last of the Soviets, and I think this would be a great read for Nonfiction November when it comes here. She's an author that writes a lot about Chernobyl and other injustices in Russia. So I'm looking forward to reading this. The lone book of Dostoevsky that I have not read yet is Demons, and this is quite a chunker, and I hope to get to this in the first part of the year. So this book comes at 678 pages if you don't include the appendix. And finally, I have browsed my shelf of numerous NOIRB books that I have, and I have found 4 books by Russian authors, so I will just mention them here, and when I get to them I will give a more in-depth review. The first one is Envy by Yuri Olesha. The second one is Autobiography of a Corpse by Sigismund Krzyżanowski. I don't know if you can read that, but that is a mouthful. The third book is The Fountain Pit by Andrei Platonov. And the final book that I have that is Russian is The Ice Trilogy by Vladimir Sorokin. Actually, I am lying. I have 2 other Russian books which I will mention at the end of this video. So please stay tuned because it has to do with something that I'm currently reading and really enjoying. So now that I have stated that I am planning to read my own books as well as trying to focus on Russian literature, the third goal is to focus on a specific author. About 2 years ago, in the summer, so a year and a half ago I guess, I read a book by Joseph Conrad, and that book was called Victory. I don't think it's one of his more known books, but I thoroughly enjoyed that book. That book dealt with a man who had escaped from England to an island in the Philippines or the West Indies, and there he had rescued a woman who was in a stage play, very young and very innocent and under harsh conditions, and he kind of stole her away to his own personal little island, and it dealt with the trepidations of relationships, and it dealt with protection, and it was just an overall very interesting story that drew me in immensely and sent me on a search for more of his books. And sadly to say, I have not returned to any of his literature. So this year I would like to devote myself to reading those books that I purchased. The books that I purchased are all rather old, and I got them at a good deal at Strand's bookstore, I believe. So I will go over those books, and I will say that I would like to read at least half of them. The first book is The Nigger of the Narcissus. I'm sure people are familiar with this book. I got it for $5. It was nothing special, but I will show you the inside of it as well as the outside cover. So it's just like that. Then we have Nostromo, which is another book, and I believe both of these books are published by Heritage Club. So I will show you this book. I don't believe it's ever been opened because it's still rather brand new, and I believe this book cost me $5. So I would like to read these 2 books for certain. And finally I have a stack of these books, which I will just read you out the name of the titles. So we have Chance, The Shadow Line, Romance, Notes on Life and Letters, The Inheritors, An Outcast of the Islands, Youth, and The Rover. And all of these books are published by Doubleday, Page and Company. And I will show you one book just so you can kind of see the makeup of it. So here's the front cover of it, and then inside I have a signature. These are rather old books too. They're very gentle. There's a kind of front page with a little delicate paper. I don't know what you call these papers. So this is the Concord edition of the works of Joseph Conrad, and this work is titled Chance. It's a tale in two parts. These were public, copyrighted 1913, 1921. So I believe this is copyrighted 1921, so probably published around in the 1920s. Again, I'm excited to get to these books and to discuss a lot of Joseph Conrad on my channel this year, and kind of have each year be an author spotlight, and I think it would be great if this year was Joseph Conrad. Finally, now that I've told you the direction I want to take my channel, which is to read my own books, read Russian literature, at least a book a month, as well as try and get through as much of Joseph Conrad as I can. Before ending this video, I will share some of the contemporary literary fiction books that I have that have come out in the last few years that I'm also very excited to get. So I don't promise to read all of them. I'm not going to hold myself to completely filling up my ear with books. I would like to leave some room for interpretation and being spontaneous. So I will mention these books because they have caught my eye as I was browsing my bookshelf of all the possible books I may want to read that I own. So the first book is The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. I bought this book about 2 years ago. It is a signed copy, and I recently saw it on the BookTube, and I recently saw it in the top 10 on What Camille Reads, who is a wonderful BookTube channel and a wonderful person. And it piqued my interest as I saw it on my bookshelves after watching that video. Another book that has been highly reviewed by many people is Pachinko. Again, I own a signed copy of it, and I bought it about at the same time that I bought The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, and I really want to get to these two books. Then we have the much talked about, either beloved or hated book of A Little Life by Hanya Yana Kihara. And this is a book that's been looking at me on my bookshelf for I don't know how long, but it's about time we meet. Then we have The Goldfinch. I believe there was a big readathon last year before the movie came out, which I didn't join. But I would love to tackle this book finally and maybe watch the movie on Amazon Prime or something. So this is in the plans to get done this year, and will be my first Donna Tartt book. Then we have My Life is Red, which is also another signed copy that I own, and it is a book by Orhan Pamuk. I make sure to read a book by Orhan Pamuk every year. So far I have read 3, which is The Museum of Innocence, Snow, and last year I read The Black Book. So by far my favorite of those 3 was Snow, although I would say the most lasting impression was The Museum of Innocence. So I know that he's specifically known for My Name is Red and Snow, which were the 2 books that kind of got him the Nobel Prize, and I would love to read this book because my expectations are extremely high for it. Then we have The Deep River by Karl Merlantes, and I was really excited for this book last year, and unfortunately I never got to it, but I believe the Border Hordes gave this book a 5-star rating, so I know a lot of people who have talked very highly about this author as well, and I'm excited to get to this book. Another book that I have been really excited to read and seems right up my alley, as I love nature just in general, is The Overstory by Richard Powers. This book has been on my shelf for far too long without being read, and I'm excited to give it the time it deserves. The last modern kind of contemporary fiction slash literary fiction that I want to read this year, and specifically it is the book I'm aiming to read for March of the Mammoth. It is The Illuminaries. This is a signed copy, or inscribed copy, it says. But I got this book at the Strand's Rare Book Room, which is on the 4th floor, and I purchased it only about a month and a half ago. So I'm very, very excited to get to it. And now I will mention the current books that I'm reading as they pertain to 2020. The first book I will mention has to do with tying this all back to the Russian project that I have going, and that is The First Circle by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He was a Nobel Prize author, and I'm more than halfway done with this book. And I would say that this guy does not take a backseat to Tolstoy nor to Dostoevsky. This may be the best book I read all year, and I am thoroughly enthralled, and I just love it. And I bought this book from a Strand's trolley outside the store for a measly 50 cents. And then I have another book of his that I bought for $1, and that comes in a nice little box. It's rather old, another mass paperback, and that is the Gulag Archipelago. So I definitely will get to this book. This is like 100% because that book is just insane how good it is. Look for a review of that book as well, please. I will be trying to put in a lot of time for that book, The First Circle, because it has touched me and wowed me and just showed such a human element and such a deep kind of perception of what was going on in the time of Stalin's rule, specifically in the late 40s, early 50s. And the final book, the book that I'm currently reading, is The Bad Side of Books, Selected Essays by D.H. Lawrence. I also try and read a book of D.H. Lawrence every year. He's one of those authors. And so I am excited that I have started off my year with another D.H. Lawrence book. I either start off my year in the last few years with D.H. Lawrence or with Orhan Pamuk. These are kind of the two authors that signify a good year of reading, and ones I love to pick up early in the year. As you see, there's a lot of books here, and last year I only read 33 books. I think I read 12,600 and change pages, which, based on my math, equal to about 388 pages per book. So I'm used to reading rather large books, and I don't mind the size as long as the story keeps me captivated and the characters keep me interested. So I hope to get through many of these books this year. Again, I won't hold myself to read every one of them, but I am excited for the new year. I'm excited for the things this channel may bring to viewers, either old viewers or viewers that may discover it in the near future. So I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you like it. If you do, there's the like button. If you want to subscribe and feel that any of these books may interest you, and you want to look forward to a nice review of them, please do so as well. And the last thing I will mention is that if you want to have a discussion, the comment section is specifically for that. I will be looking for any new commenters, any old commenters, or any of your kind of things that piqued your interest in this video. So thanks again, and have a lovely year of reading.